In a grim corner of the city, where the streetlights flicker like dying stars and the air hums with whispered threats, an unthinkable crime unfolded one humid night. It began with a group of rogue officers, black cops from a corrupt local precinct, who had grown so drunk on the power of their badges that the line between duty and depravity had long since vanished. They roamed the streets not to serve or protect, but to entertain themselves in the most twisted ways imaginable. That night, they spotted her, an elderly white woman stooped under the weight of grocery bags, making her slow way home from the corner store. Her name was Margaret Hale, known in the neighborhood as Miss Maggie, the kind of sweet old lady who slipped candy to kids and watched neighbors' pets when they were away. But to these men in uniform, she was nothing more than prey. They pulled their cruiser alongside her, the engine rumbling like a beast in the dark. They jeered at her, ordering her to drop her bags and put her hands on the hood. Confused, frightened, and alone, Margaret obeyed, stammering that she hadn't done anything wrong. The leader, Officer Tyrone Sykes, a burly man with a laugh that could curdle milk, told her it was just a routine check. But what happened next was anything but routine. They grabbed her by the arms, dragged her to an abandoned lot behind a boarded-up warehouse, and, in the harsh beam of the cruiser's headlights, tied her to a rusted metal pole with zip ties biting into her thin wrists. They circled her like predators around wounded prey, mocking her frailness, flicking cigarettes at her feet, threatening to leave her there all night in the cold. To them, it was a game, some sick, sadistic show of dominance. What they didn't know was that the woman they'd chosen to terrorize was not just another powerless figure lost in the city's dark veins. Margaret Hale had a son, Peter Hale, a man who, only a week earlier, had been sworn in as the new director of the CIA. Peter was not a man easily rattled. He was forged in the fires of covert operations, international espionage, and backroom power plays. But the second he got the frantic phone call from a local passerby who found his mother tied to that pole, bruised and shivering, something ancient and feral awoke inside him. Margaret, for all her kindness, had raised her son with the understanding that evil does not yield to kindness alone. As Peter sat by his mother's hospital bed, listening to her halting account, he didn't see an old woman anymore. He saw the one person in the world who had shielded him from monsters. Now it was his turn. The incident became a media flashpoint within hours. An elderly woman, humiliated and assaulted by those sworn to protect her. The city mayor, the police chief, even the governor, scrambled to get ahead of the outrage. They promised swift justice, but Peter Hale knew bureaucracy's glacial pace would never deliver the vengeance he needed. He called in favors that presidents would hesitate to ask for. A clandestine task force assembled under the cover of darkness. Agents, cyber operatives, and psychological warfare experts, all loyal to Hale from years in the agency's shadows, got to work. They tapped phones, cracked encrypted messages, and turned informants inside the department. Within 72 hours, they had everything. Body cam footage that had been erased, group chat logs full of grotesque boasts, hidden bank accounts hinting at years of bribes and extortion. But Peter didn't just want convictions. He wanted to dismantle every rotten branch that allowed monsters in uniform to thrive. While the media kept the spotlight on Miss Maggie, Peter's operatives leaked evidence to journalists, igniting protests that shut down City Hall. The cops involved, Sykes and his crew, found themselves hunted not by the law, but by the community that once feared them. Their families were doxxed, their homes spray-painted with messages demanding justice. But the real blow came when their dirty secrets became public record. One by one, the officers vanished, some arrested by the FBI in midnight raids, others running scared only to find themselves cornered by shadowy figures with CIA credentials they dared not challenge. Peter never visited the cells where Sykes and the others ended up. He didn't need to. He knew they were broken men now, pariahs even among criminals. The precinct that harbored them was gutted, its senior brass exposed for years of corruption and cover-ups. The city was forced to reckon with its failure to protect the most vulnerable. New reforms, real ones this time, took root like wildfires, overseen by watchdogs Peter had personally vetted. And through it all, Margaret Hale recovered slowly, her frail hands regaining strength, her eyes brightening each day she sat with her son in the garden behind her house. She never asked Peter what he'd done. She didn't need to. She simply squeezed his hand, a silent pact between a mother and the boys she'd raised to stand against monsters, no matter what uniform they wore.